Welcome, welcome everybody to the Fantasy and Frames Best Ball Show. I am Stacy Perez in the house tonight. We have got Stephanie Miller, we have got Gator J, and our very special guest coming to draft with us tonight is Tony Jenna from the Scott Fishbowl live draft in Dallas. Guys, we're going to be doing a Best Ball Mania. Let's go. What is up, everybody? Guys, tonight I just want to say hello and welcome to our special guest, Tony Jenna. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to do this draft with y'all.
Awesome. I'm very, very excited to have you here. So you were at the live Scott Fishbowl draft in Dallas with Stephanie, and you did bid on a package on the silent auction, and part of that was to come and hang out and draft with us tonight, right?
Yeah, I was really excited about doing this. I saw that, and then Stephanie's in the Whataburger division with me, so I thought it'd be a good fun time to do this podcast with everybody.
Oh yeah. Well, hopefully it lives up to the hype, and hopefully we make it fun and exciting for you tonight. So I want to know a couple questions for you. So look at that, Jorge, our Fantasy and Frame CEO. They're in the chat. Jorge, what is up? We have missed you. Glad to see you back. Chalupa Batman is up in there too. So is Anthony. Guys, make sure if you are hanging out with us in the chat tonight, get on in there. Let us know you're here. Let us be able to say hey to you. So Tony, let me ask you, so when you're not like crushing it at fantasy football, like what is your day job? What are you up to?
So my day job is I work for Experian, the credit bureau. So
okay, we already hate him. Let's kick him off.
I was about to say that can go either way. So I work in sales for them. So I'm based out of here in Dallas, and so I cover the South region for Experian, and I really enjoy it. And then also I have a 17-month-old son. So, and if I'm not working, I'm hanging out with him. So my goal is to take him to all the stadiums. So we went to San Diego, went to the Petco Park. Obviously, we've done Rangers. So I'm trying to knock out all the baseball parks with me and my son James.
So
that's awesome.
Your first job is 17-month-old.
Yes.
And then the one you get paid for.
Yes.
Is a BS job that you could care less about anymore.
That's how it is.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah.
Make sure
family comes first, and having a newborn baby is definitely a full-time job.
Absolutely.
That's I'm jealous that you got to go to San Diego. I heard that's an amazing park. That's definitely on my list. Definitely.
It's a beautiful park.
That's on my bucket list too, trying to get around to all the baseball stadiums. So that's definitely a fun goal to have. That should be a good time for you guys, like as he gets older, and that's so awesome. Jamie,
we're knocking out Fenway next, so that's the next one.
Oh, I'm very jealous. I was actually supposed to be in Pittsburgh today, but Gator and I were going to go to Pittsburgh today and see our Braves because we're both Braves fans.
Thank God we didn't.
I know, yeah, that turned out to be better for us.
Should have went last night.
Yeah, we would have been pretty annoyed. But so tell me, like, how did you learn about the Scott Fishbowl? How long have you been playing in it? Just tell me all about that.
So this is my first year in the Scott Fishbowl. I was really excited to join it. I've just been listening to a bunch of different football podcasts, and you hear about it from everybody. And when you're on Twitter, you kind of hear everyone talking about this big draft. So the more I heard about it, the more excited I wanted to be a part of it. So I actually signed up to do on the CBS website, had an auction type thing similar to this. And I was able to donate to St. Jude. That got me a spot into the Scott Fishbowl. So that's how I was able to get into it for the first time this year.
That's very cool. Very cool. So you're in the Whataburger division with Steph. So tell me about this draft. What spot did you draft from? Were you and Stephanie sniping each other the whole time? Like, tell me about your team.
Yep, I was in the 8th spot. I will say, with it being a live draft, there may have been a little more alcohol than there should have been with my drafting of this team. So I don't think I took a running back till about the 9th round before we were about to leave.
You're our kind of guy, Tony.
I was not the latest, guys.
Yes, you were not the latest. I went as far as I could without drafting a running back, so I was getting a little heat for that, but it was fun. I was just kind of there for the experience, and hey, you never know. To win something like Scott Fish, you got to do something a little contrarian. So
Yes.
Yeah.
maybe that's the way to do it. We'll see.
Well, I got a quick question that's not on here,
Yeah, it's fine.
or not on the sheet. So where were y'all drafting in Dallas? What location?
It was a community beer.
Okay. What
the
was
beer
the beer of
place.
choice that caused you not to take a running back until the
I
ninth round?
honestly don't know if I tried a little bit of all of them, and I don't know if I could
Yeah,
remember
they
the
had their
names of
own.
them. Yeah,
Okay,
they were the brewery,
They
so
had
they
their
all had
own
different
brewery.
names.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so then I guess the next question is obviously, is community beer a spot to go to in Dallas now?
I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Stephanie, but I loved it. I thought it was, especially for that kind of experience. We had a room to ourselves, so I think there was 4 or 5 live drafts going on at one time. Plenty of room, really good options for alcohol. And then if you went downstairs where they had other spots
Where
that were
the common folk were at.
yes, the common folk. They had, like cornhole and
There
some
were
fun games that you
bike
could play.
riders. There was
Nice.
a
Yeah, there
bike
was another
rider thing
convention
going
of bike
on.
riders there.
Like
Yeah,
not motorcycle, like
Like
not
cyclists.
bike.
bicycle,
Yeah, like
bicycle.
cyclists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's like going to a swimming pool and having a speedo contest. That's no.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But no, I thought it was a great place for,
Yeah.
like you said, for the event. I mean, I'd never been there, but the beer is pretty good. The food wasn't bad.
Yeah.
You could, get things delivered to your table pretty easily. When,
Mm.
there was accessible bathrooms when you drank too much beer. You could go back and forth. So
Yeah, and
everything worked
Casey
out
set that
really
up for
well.
us, and it was awesome.
That's
Yeah,
And
she
what-
did a really nice
What's
job.
really
She was
cool
awesome.
is this experience is, with Scott Fishbowl, especially the live draft, is phenomenal. The way it's spread and of course the charity itself, but like the two of you and Steph, Tony and Steph got to do live in Dallas, whereas Stacy and I did live in Orlando.
Yep.
Oh,
And
nice.
I think the probably the biggest plus was, like Steph just said, because you're in a brewery, because we were in a brewery as well. The bathrooms were definitely accessible.
For those of
Much
us
needed.
that drank too much, Gator, we didn't drink too much at that point. It was later on that evening that we drank.
The after party.
Much later in the evening.
Thanks, Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler. That was all Tyler's fault.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that I just love hearing stories about the fishbowl because it just it brings so many people together for such a good cause, and it's just such an awesome event. So anytime I can ask somebody about how they got into it, I just like to hear all the stories.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for my first year. It's gonna be a good time.
You should be, because I had a blast my first year doing it. So so you're definitely gonna have a good time. Guys, if you haven't already followed Tony, make sure to go ahead and do that. You can follow him at Jenna Tony. So last name first name last, right there. It's on the screen. Check that out. Make sure to give him a follow. Guys, it's that time. All right, everybody. Let's go ahead, jump on in to your best ball mania. If you want to draft with us, get on in there right now. We are getting in there. All of everybody into it.
I hope so.
Hopefully we all get on the
Says
same
draft
page.
starting
That was
soon.
quick.
So
That was hey, there we go. All right.
Is everybody in the same draft? That's the biggest question, right? That's the
me
biggest.
and Stacy
Oh,
are.
I see Stacy.
Okay,
I see
so then
I'm in the
see two.
back. I'm in the back, guys.
all right. So I'm gonna get my my board up here, guys. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna make sure
What is your
everybody
underdog
can
name,
see it.
Tony?
Jamie, actually,
Mine.
we were live on air and with Ryan McDowell, and Jamie was in the chat, which this Tony, you would appreciate this. Ryan McDowell was on with us, and Jamie was in the chat on a Mocking After Dark. We were doing an SFB mock,
Oh, no.
and Ryan was like, "Okay, Jamie, you are in," and just literally put him in the SFB right then and there. And
Love it.
so forever grateful that Ryan McDowell did that, and I know Jamie is as well. So, wow, this draft is starting quickly. Stacy, are you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, do the expansion on that so we can see everything.
Give me just 1 second. Let me draft a Chase, and then I'll get right back at it for you guys.
Okay.
So
Well,
what spot are you in, Tony? Who are you
Well,
on
I
underdog?
talked about going how I did no running backs in the Scott Fish Bowl, but I'm actually on the clock, and I don't know if I can pass up Christian McCaffrey at the third spot. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and take Christian McCaffrey.
When it comes
So
to you
I'm
that early, you just kind of have to do it, right?
yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
yeah. So I guess the main question there is like, so you're not going to see another pick for roughly a full round.
Yep.
I know it's a one quarterback, but going CMC there. Is there any thought of a wide receiver with the top two off the board at that 3 spot in your mind?
So what I kind of think about, and I've done quite a few of these and some mock drafts. If I do have the chance at Christian McCaffrey, obviously I'm at the front end of the draft. I really like the receivers that are there at the 2-3 turn. So that's kind of what my thought process there is. At the 2-3 turn, there's going to be, a couple between. There's that second tier, third tier, Olave, Antonio St. Brown, or St. Brown, Olave, Wilson, that kind of tier. I think some of those might be able, even Higgins, Smith are going to fall. So that's kind of what my thought process is there.
Okay, so real quick rebuttal question: Justin Jefferson,
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase. If you're sitting in that 1-1-1-1-2, are you taking Christian McCaffrey over either one of those wide receivers?
Not over those two, no.
Okay.
I find those to be a completely different tier. I do think after Cup makes me a little nervous with injuries, so I would go McCaffrey over that second tier of wide receivers.
Okay. So on the board, we have Stacy drafting at the 2 spot.
Mhm.
We have Tony drafting at the 3. And Steph is all the way back in the back at the 11 spot.
I am.
What are you thinking? Okay, well, you just took Garrett Wilson. So that took Tony's guy right there.
I know, and Sam Brown.
Yeah. So you're
I actually wanted St. Brown too.
Yeah, your wide receivers, Tony, for this 1-2 or this 2-3 turn.
There's still a few of them there that I like. We'll see what happens. It could backfire on me.
All
I
right, so I'm
shouldn't
gonna
have said it out loud, maybe.
Waddle's been dropping since people were slightly concerned over the injury, but I guess not.
There you go.
Let me run through this first round real quick. It's pretty chalky. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, Travis Kelce, Nick Chubb, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, and AJ Brown is your first round. Your second round looks like this: Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard as RB4 coming off the board. Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Saquon Barkley, Mark Andrews. Tony, you just took Devontae Smith, which I love. Stacy, you are on the clock here. Real quick thought process. What are you doing?
Yeah, so Tony just made my decision a lot easier. I was going to take Devontae Smith, but you left him to me. Give me Patty Mahomes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little early, but we're going to have a little fun with that one right there.
All right, Tony. So the turn is happening right now. You got you took Devontae Smith. So you're Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Smith right now.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes just went off the board. You've got 3 picks, and I know Stacy is picking right in front of you. So without giving away any information right now, I don't want her to be able to say, well, I sniped you because you said this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thought process. Derrick Henry just went off the board at the 212.
So I will say, I don't know if I could do the early quarterback, even though, in a best ball, you want to make sure you have a couple. I still am going to wait a little bit on quarterback. So that is kind of on the back of my mind. So it's going to be a running back or a wide receiver here, just depending on who drops to me. I was kind of hoping Henry would have slid, but with him going I think that's pretty late for Henry. I know there's the age concern with him, but
he's going to get the work, right?
Yeah. If he gets anywhere north of 30 catches, he's already going to get 300 plus.
All right. So real quick, I want to stop you for a second. Derrick Henry, of course, then Josh Allen, DK Metcalf. Now you're on the clock. Process.
So the process here is one of those. Do I go with my heart and grab my Lions guy who's way down there, which I don't know if I can do that. I'm a little worried about I'm gonna go Stevenson and take another running back. I kind of wanted to go Gibbs just because I'm a Lions fan, but if they don't pick up another running back, Stevenson's gonna get all the work there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to get most of the work, even if they pick up another running back. I think the only thing that they're going to do is if they pick up a Leonard Fournette or a Dak, or I'm sorry, a Zeke or something along those lines, it's going to hurt the touchdowns, inside that 5-yard line. But I think for the most part, it's still going to be, Ramondre for 75% of the work. So the third round looking like this: Josh Allen, DK Metcalf, Ramondre Stevenson, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Taylor, Calvin Ridley. We're sitting here now at the, what is that going to be? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. So we're at the 3-8 right now. Steph, you're coming up in a couple picks here. You're sitting there with Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson. What's the thought process? Where are we going?
Well, I'm pretty mad that Josh Allen's already off the board. So that's not going to be an option for me. But right now, we'll see what makes it. Some of these running backs that just, Gibbs has actually been going pretty early. So you would have been okay to take him. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab Brees here and load up apparently again on my Jets, which was not the plan going in, but hey.
Hard Knocks is getting to you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers was a little more likable than I wanted him to be on there, or maybe he's just really good at making it for the camera. But as a Cowboys fan, I can't give him too much credit ever.
Oh, guys, come on!
But
I'm a Lions fan, so I'm kind of.
And I mean, I think if we didn't have this injury concern, he'd be going in the second round, possibly even higher. I mean, so it's already baked in. And he can come on, for the playoffs, even if he starts off a little slow and still be a league winner. So I'm fine taking him. That's a little earlier because he's been dropping, but this draft seemed a little more aggressive on some of those running backs because they were already all going. Sometimes in these, you'll see those guys were lasting till, I have some 5th round Brees. I've seen Jacobs fall almost that far out, JT, I've been getting a lot in the 3rd. So, with all these rumors of all the holdouts and stuff, people are spooked. So I think that's one reason lately I've not been taking as many like 1st round running backs, because I feel like you can make a lot of combinations with some of those guys if you're brave enough to, that as soon as we get some positive news isn't going to be an option anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to leave myself open to be able to take some of those fallers.
Well, let me run through this 3rd round real quick. It was Josh Allen, DK Metcalf, Ramondre Stevenson, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, which I honestly am surprised, Tony, you didn't stack Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith when you had the opportunity. I know you were looking at Gibbs there, but I just felt like the stack was there. Jonathan Taylor went a little bit later, and I think that has a lot to do with the conversation that's been going on there with him and Irsay. Kevin Ridley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, which again, there was, a little thing that came out that said something about Zamir White was RB1 now in Vegas. I don't know what's going on there. We saw Amari Cooper.
He's not under contract, so they can't put him on the depth chart.
Okay, that makes sense.
So here's something interesting. So, as we're looking at some of these holdouts, like we look at like Jonathan Taylor, and then we look at Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is the only one that actually has any kind of leverage. Not saying he will sit out, but if anybody was going to, it's him, because you have to be able to hit free agency. Apparently, you have to be able to have 4 seasons under your belt. So Josh Jacobs could hold out and then hit free agency next year and be okay. Jonathan Taylor, if they put him on that non-football injury list, which they kind of supposedly threatened to do, we don't know if they did or didn't, they could end up not paying him and have him not hit free agency next year. So he really doesn't have any leverage. So I really think that Jonathan Taylor is going to end up playing, but
he better. My Scott Fishbowl team needs him.
Jacobs is, if there was one that could hold up, I still think he'll play. It would be him because he could get away with it. And if he wanted to dig his heels in and make, a case, it's a possibility.
Well, as we were
This
talking,
one,
we just
Samir is sorry.
no, we just went through the fourth round. The fourth round went like this: Joe Mixon, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Travis Etienne, Mike Williams, Christian Watson, DJ Moore, DeAndre Hopkins, Najee Harris, Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk, Drake London. Who was it that was just asking a question there? Was it you, Stacy, or was it you, Steph?
I think it was Steph.
I was just going to say, I still, even if Jacobs ends up playing, Zamir, I think, is still going to get some work this year. It seems like they like him, and he's put in a lot of stuff off season. So I still like him as a late round pick. So I don't think that you should be deterred by taking him, even if you think Jacobs is going to play or including him in the mix.
I'm sorry, Steph. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're good. I'm done.
All right, Tony. So, we just talked. I just brought it up. Vegas listed Zamir White as RB1, and Steph clearly, had a great point on why they cannot list Jacobs as their RB5, let alone RB1.
Yep.
When you're doing these best ball drafts, how much do you pay attention to, especially like this week where the first sets of rosters come out from the NFL teams? How much do you look at those and go, okay, I got to fade him. I got to bring him up?
This early, not too much. I mean, the prime example of that is Bijan Robinson being listed as third on the depth chart.
Well, he should be on the depth chart. They got Cordero Patterson and they got the RB1 Tyler Algier.
Yeah, you're right. I do think Bijan's gonna come out on top, but at this point, I want to see at least a little bit of the starters come out before I really put in any depth chart analysis on that. So I'll kind of go with my gut on how I thought in the offseason until I start seeing it on the field play out differently.
I love that. I think that's the right way to look at it. Round 5 goes Alexander Madison, Brandon Ayuk, Justin Herbert, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Justin Fields, TJ Hawkinson, Joe Burrow as QB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. QB 7, is that right? Wow.
QB 7. Look at that nice little Burrow Kelsey correlation there. That's kind of hot. Kind of like that.
That was good.
Well, you took the homes from him, so Yeah,
I did. You know who that is too? That is my fantasy football husband right there, Jim Bednar. It's my fantasy football partner in crime right up there. So he was hoping to be able to get in with us tonight. So glad he was able to make it. But I just sent him a little message telling him that was a nice little
sneaky
tie in there with Burrow and Kelsey.
Yes,
I keep getting my quarterback stacks sniped here, so I keep trying to come up with next plans, but I'm not quite sure why that person decided to take Herbert from me too.
Well, after Burrow, we had Marquise Brown, JSN, Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, which I mean, God, can you get him in the 5th round? That's crazy that you can get him that late, right? Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans goes, 3 picks after him? That's insane. George Kittle, Michael Pittman, J.K. Dobbins, Gabe Davis, Jordan Addison. We got 1 pick before Tony is on the board. Tony, talk. What are you doing?
So I'm kind of leaning, especially the guy before me already has a tight end. I kind of like the upside of Pitts here. I know, best ball, you're going to need to have a couple. So with him there's a couple players I think could come back to me. So I think I'm going to take Pitts just so I can have, in my opinion, a tight end with huge upside.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jesus, you got him in the 6th round. Possibly somebody that if it all works out, he could be in that tight end 2, tight end 3, tight end 4 range. I love the pick there. You got him as, I want to say it's like tight end 6, tight end 5, somewhere in that range on this board. And you got him in the 6th round. So I love that pick. Stacy takes Miles Sanders, Then Darren Waller is off the board. 2 more picks coming back around. Stacy, what is the thought process right now? You just took Miles Sanders. You're sitting there with DK. You're sitting there with Christian Kirk. You're sitting there with Brandon Ayuk. You just took Miles Sanders.
Yep. So I just took Miles Sanders as my first running back, to kind of go with that Jacksonville with Christian Kirk there. And I'm kind of looking at my options here. And I don't normally go back to back running backs. I don't think I'm going to do that here. A few of the guys I'm targeting at tight end, it's a little too early for them. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab one of my very favorite wide receiver twos here coming into his second year. That would be Mr. Jahan Dotson. Big fan. Shout out Jorge, one of your Washington Commanders there. Love Jahan Dotson. Think he has a ton of upside for this year going into the season. He dealt with some injuries last year, and it kind of put a damper on that rookie season of his. But I think this year he comes back. I think he's going to have a great season. Doesn't matter to me if Sam Howell's back there. Doesn't matter to me if Jacoby Brissett's back there. I don't really care. I think he's still going to be able to come and stand out. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, I think he led the team in touchdowns last year, even with those injuries. Somebody in the chat double check that, but I think that's the right stat there. So I think it's a guy that they are committed to using a lot, and I think he's going to be right there with Terry McLaurin and have a lot of production. So you guys know me, I love my wide receivers, so that's 5 off the board for me so far. So maybe I need to put some more colors on my roster.
Yeah, I don't hate that. In all words out of Commander's camp is that Jahan Dotson is that guy. Even with Terry McLaurin still there, even with it being, a second-year guy and Sam Howell, it is still Jahan Dotson is that guy. And I guess in best ball, I mean, you're looking for those spike weeks, which he did have his down weeks last year, but he did have those huge spike weeks. So the question coming, you Steph, you took Tyler Lockett. I love Tyler Lockett, especially this year. I felt like that was a little early for Tyler Lockett, but I mean,
right at ADP.
Okay, right at ADP. Okay, so that's fair. What is the thought process going on this pick right here, where you're on the clock?
Well, right now I have 2 options I'm kind of looking at. I think I'm going to take a running back here because I'm a little bit light on Rashad White, and I don't know who the running back 2 is going to be, and they haven't signed anyone yet, and I only have one, so I was going to go ahead and take him. I had another thing I was considering, and I'll see what comes back to me here. Oh, okay. So I was considering actually doing what the guy did in between me, of trying to get a stack with Watson, since I already had the Jets coming back. But I think I'm going to go ahead and take somebody else who's been rising up the board, another running back who, this team, I think he might put up a few points. So I don't mind.
I like that pick.
Getting a little bit of the Buffalo here, and he's been lighting up camp, and he has been rising. And I think there's room for Cook to keep rising, especially with all the Damian Harris bud going on. And I am not a believer, in. Oh my gosh!
So you really think Buffalo is going to put up points this year? Finally,
I mean, they've been a fantasy disappointment. Lately, but
they're an up and coming offense,
Yeah.
Matt over there in the chat. I was gonna say, Steph, Matt's over there in the chat complimenting your James Cook pick.
And that is my main event partner right there. So thank you, Matt.
Especially, I mean, I think that's great value for him as well. So let me read through this 7th round real quick. 7th round goes like this: Cam Akers, Jahan Dotson, Quentin Johnston. Great pick, Tony. Say Flowers, Dallas Goedert. Then we had Damian Pierce, David Montgomery, Brandon Cooks, rather. DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, hopefully come back soon. Stacy went Rashad White, which I can tell you who the RB2 is in Tampa, being a Tampa Bay fan, and that's going to be the one and only Sean Tucker. Deshaun was
So
the
you
final
really
pick.
do believe in it, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, just listen. I said this earlier on ESPN radio. Look, Sean Tucker was a third round talent. The
Oh
only
yeah, I agree with that.
did not get drafted and went as a UDFA was because of the health issues.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Once he got cleared, guess what Tampa did? And I'm sure any team that would have been able to do it would have done. They paid him as a third round talent, as if they would have drafted him in the third round. It wasn't a UDFA. I'll give you $1 million to ride the bench. No, they paid him as a third round talent. So
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So that's why I will argue that Sean Tucker is going to be part of the offense and is going to be Rashad White's role of last year. Like you may not see him as much in the first 5-6 games, depending on how the season goes. But as you see you looked at what Rashad White did last year, where he actually jumped into a bigger role in the last 7 games. I can see Sean Tucker doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of rookies.
Yep.
Well, that's good to hear because my pre-draft contest, I think Sean Tucker is, because like you said, he was a great prospect, one of my highest round picks. So if I'm going to win the big board, if he hits, that could do it for me.
Yes.
And I have taken him a couple times late in some other contests here recently.
We do have a bunch of FIFers that are jumping into ESPN radio here lately.
Nice station. It's like ESPN. That was a nice little flex there, Gator.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Did I?
I like that.
I didn't. I'm sorry. It wasn't meant to be a
Don't
flex.
be sorry. You shouldn't be sorry. That was
wasn't meant to be
fantastic.
Flex. Anyway, round 8 goes like this. Elijah Moore coming right with Deshaun Watson. Great stack right there. James Cook to Steph. James Conner following that up. Dak Prescott. Anthony Richardson falling to the 8th round. Is that QB2 for that team? Because that's a beautiful
Who?
For Anthony Richardson there.
It is because he's got Burrow also.
Oh wow. Love that. Tua Tagovailoa, Sky Moore, Treylon Burks, Rashad Bateman, who I think is set for a breakout year. I love this pick.
I sure hope so.
Talk about Bateman, Gator, because I literally got in an argument about Rashad Bateman yesterday, and I don't like him. So bring me.
What?
I don't like Bateman.
Okay, Stacey.
Come on, bring me over.
It's over.
Win me over, guys.
I will come back to Bateman here in just a second.
All right.
I'm going to have to look up some stats when I'm not on the clock here.
Without Kamara.
Because, I mean, his coming in, he was a great talent.
Yes, absolutely.
The only thing to flood on him,
he came in as an injured player. So
Hang on.
Let me get through this round right quick. We got Alvin Kamara to Tony. Great pick right there. I think that's going to be a sneaky pick later in the year because, of course, you're not going to have him for the first whatever. Roger flipped the coin, whatever. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
fine. Elijah Pacheco. Stacey, I don't know if I care for that one or not. Whatever, we'll figure that one out later. Kadarius,
you don't like Pacheco?
I not this year. Cortland Sutton, Zach Charbonnet, Devon A-Chain, Tony.
I wanted Charbonnet. You sniped me on that one.
We're gonna have
that was the right pick then.
We all want Charbonnet. Yeah, Stacey likes to snipe us on our.
I got a glass of little Charbonnet right here.
Yeah, Odell Beckham, AJ Dillon, Michael Thomas, which I do like, especially this late. Nico Collins, Tyler Boyd.
Talk about injured guys.
There's another one that's going to be suspended for like the first 6 games, so keep an eye on that one. Evan Ingram, Geno Smith, love that late. Antonio Gibson. All right, so let's go back over here to round 8, Rashad Bateman, which, like I said, I absolutely love. Please tell me he's got this team has Lamar Jackson too as well. Stacey, because I can't see the board. This team 4 have Lamar Jackson because it makes it even better. Because here's Rashad Bateman.
Does have
great stack. Rashad Bateman is going to go off this year. He came into the league injured. So he started off on a bad foot. fine.
Like literally on a bad foot or figuratively?
Literally.
Both. No, but Rashad Bateman
Well,
now with Todd Monken coming in, Todd Monken is going to make Lamar pass the ball more. And I think that is going to benefit this whole passing game. We all looked at Lamar as that guy that is a rush first guy. I don't think he is. I think when you looked at what he did at Louisville, he could throw the ball. He can be precise. Now, yes, the rushing upside is phenomenal. But you give him weapons, which he hasn't had. Rashad Bateman is that guy.
So last season, if you look at how it started off, Lamar was looking like a league winner when he had Bateman out there. Bateman was a big part of the offense. He was looking great. Once he went down, that's when everything else kind of went downhill. So I think having him, and he's going to be back this year. And then now they've added so much more. And then plus Duncan, that whole offense is set to explode.
Yep. And yes.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes, Matt is on it. Matt, Bateman is Lamar's guy. He's said it himself. He's the wide receiver 1 in Baltimore. Bateman is the man. Go look at the connection with Lamar. He's healthy. He's off the pup.
Yeah.
This
back today.
Yes, got back today.
Okay. All right.
Bateman needs to be in your listen. I don't know what your exposure is to him, but if you
big fat 0.
Whoa.
Like 25% at least.
Listen, can I just say something a little spicy?
No. You're gonna bash Bateman. You're not allowed to talk. I will mute you right now. Watch this. Mute. You're done.
I'm going to put you on Twitter blast and tag a bunch of people, Stacey, and you're not going to hear the end.
Please tag Lamar. I want to talk to Lamar.
Oh yeah, no,
right.
Yeah,
well, I don't know Lamar, so Lamar's not going to answer me.
It's a great thing about Twitter. You should tag whoever you want. Here's my thing. Like, is this so wrong that if it's Baltimore, I just really want Andrews and Lamar. I don't really want to deal with anybody else.
With Monken, yes, because you're going to be passing and they're going to be spreading the ball around a lot more. It's not going to just be a concentrated offense to just one person and him running.
Yeah, it is negative. Jim's right. It is negative exposure. He absolutely knows. That's who I had the big argument with yesterday about Bateman.
Yeah, you got to fix that soon. Fix it now. All right, I don't know where I left off here. Let's see. Okay, so we had Antonio Gibson, blah, blah, blah. Let's see where are we at. Da-da-da. All right, so the turnabout.
I'm going to take this guy.
All right, so the roundabout went like this. Antonio Gibson was the last pick of the 9th round. 10th round goes Rashad Penny, Aaron Rodgers in the 10th round. I can't believe that he falls this far after watching Hard Knocks last night. But whatever.
Boy,
cool.
I grabbed him early too, by the way, Gator. So your ADP thing is a little bit off for underdog.
Yes.
You thought I grabbed Lockett early, but I had a stack. So
listen,
it makes sense when I'm towards the end, double tap it.
When the voice of the whole Hard Knocks series flies in by a helicopter,
the voice of God.
Yes, the voice of God. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. He flies in.
I did.
He does not deserve a 10th round pick. But anyway, all right. So
I took him, guys, and I'm not the Rodgers fan in the house.
Stacey, that's right here. I am.
Way over there.
And that really hurt me. I don't think I have any Lazard, but he was sitting there. Let's see, 20 picks past ADP practically. So since I had Rodgers, I guess I will take my first Lazard, maybe second Lazard exposure.
Yeah.
And I already have Wilson and Brees. So this Hard Knocks thing, that better work out. They better make it.
Hey, it worked out for Stacey. It worked out for Stacey last year with Williams. So it worked out. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. Let me read
this
flag, Daddy.
I know who you're taking.
You know who I'm going to take here? I might. He doesn't go with my build at all.
He goes with every build, Stacey.
That's true. He does. And I'm actually, Tony, man, I'm surprised you didn't do this. I'm going to break your heart right here.
She's going.
She's gonna take a line instead. She's gonna take my other guy.
Laporta.
Why do you want to do that, Stacy? There's two guys. She's gonna take Laporta. I know.
Laporta, yeah.
You know what I just did? You guys see what I just did there? I got peer pressured and taken Laporta.
Yep.
And now he and Greg over here have the same bye week. So whoops.
Nice.
Let me read these last two rounds.
Make that a 3 tight end team.
We had
So you gotta take Mims, sniper.
Oh,
she still wanted it. Oh no, she's gonna get him. No, just kidding.
Yep, she's on the clock.
Fifth round goes Rashad Penny, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Fryermuth, David Njoku, Samaje Perine, Juju, Khalil Herbert, Zay Jones, Romeo Dobbs, Daniel Jones to Tony, Damian Harris to Stacy, Dalton Kincaid, Jamal Williams, which I think Stacy would have taken instead of Dolchich.
Oh, totally.
She takes Dolchich. Van Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, all the way down in the 11th round at 11-4. Brian Robinson, Jacoby Myers, Darnell Mooney, Jarick McKinnon, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby, Rondell Moore, Alan Lazard. Nice stack there with Aaron Rodgers there, Steph. Elijah Moore, Russell Wilson, which I don't hate the Cousins Wilson. If you're holding on late and getting 11 and in the 11th, 12th round and taking Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson, don't hate it at all. Michael Gallup, Jonathan Mingo, Tyler Higbee, MVS, Dalton Schultz, Chig, Okonkwo going to our guy, Tony, Sam Laporta, Kendre Miller, which I absolutely love for the first at least 2 weeks. We'll see what happens after that with Kendre, with Jamal Williams. But he did take Jamal Williams in front of Kendre there. So we shall see what's going to happen going forward there.
Gator,
you were coming up. Go ahead.
I'm going to need you to call him by his real name.
Swag Daddy.
Swag Daddy. Yes, please. Thank you. Show some respect to Jamal, touchdown leader last year. Swag Daddy.
Show that man respect on that man's name.
That's well, glad it could, at least he did it last year. Doesn't mean he's going to do it again.
Oh, definitely not.
Kendrick's coming.
He's not getting 17 touchdowns again this year, but he's
the Saints are a little scary.
If there is a more fun player to root for, I want you to name him because that man is an absolute treasure. My TikTok is all Jamal Williams, and he is just.
Hold up.
Uh-oh.
Did you all just see Gainwell going in the I know he's been getting hype in camp, but he just went in the 13th round. Okay, the camp hype is out of control. How do you all feel about the Eagles running back depth chart here? Do you believe that Gainwell is going to be ahead of Penny and Swift?
So let's take a look at his guys that he has.
Swift went already. So
no. But
the head coach is wearing a Gainwell shirt at the press conference.
On there, they're starting to say, all the beat writers are saying that Gainwell is getting more first team reps than either one of them.
So, guys, they're
starting to say that he could be the number one running back in Philly.
Yeah, as much Gainwell exposure as I have, not just in best ball, but just in my normal dynasty leagues, I hope so.
Yeah, I have a ton of them too.
I don't think it's going to happen with Rashad Penny there unless, we never wish injury by no means. Don't get me wrong. But we know that Rashad Penny is good for a couple weeks and then he's going to get injured. So unless he gets injured, the problem is
you can't predict injuries. Let's
no.
Slow down.
The problem is Swift. Like, what did we expect out of Swift coming out of Georgia, which we didn't see, when he was in Detroit through whatever 74 regimes in his 5 years, we never saw it. Which tells me that we're not going to. And I was Swift as RB1 on record last year in the Scott Fish Bowl. It's out there on YouTube and Twitter that RB1 last year was going to be DeAndre Swift. That did not come to fruition. So I'm completely off of Swift, not only because he didn't become RB1, because he wasn't relevant because of injury or because of, just the usage or whatnot. Listen, Philly gave up nothing to get him. It does, and Philly is that team that is going to run 5, 6 running backs. They did it last year. Miles Sanders had a phenomenal year last year with Philly. Got paid, moved on. Gainwell's been sitting there for 3 years now? He's ready. It was look, Gainwell is very similar to the running back out of Gibson out of Washington. They both came out of Memphis. They're both heavily used in passing offense. I think there is a real chance that Gainwell can absolutely be a 3-down back. His size worries me. That's the only thing that worries me with Gainwell.
I mean, I think as long as I'm hoping that Penny still gets, the early work, but we'll see. I mean, longevity might be, an issue. Maybe they want to split his carries up some. He's still getting the most touches in camp, but he's running with, but more of the touches are still coming from, I think, the second team offense. Gainwell's still getting the most touches with first, even though Penny's getting the most overall. And Swift seems to really be possibly, I don't know, not as much in the mix as those two. So Swift, I don't have a ton of, and I may not keep drafting a bunch of him because of what's been going on a little bit. And I'm definitely trying to up my Gainwell. But I don't know about this price. That's still a really expensive price to pay.
Yep.
I agree with the
people, knowing how late people were getting into in this contest.
Yeah, no, I agree with the price. I think you could have waited on him for that. Tony, real quick, if you draft Brees and Javonte Williams where they are going, there's no reason not to take a chance on Bateman. He's basically free. Yes or no?
I honestly don't see how. I mean, you're looking at the injury risk team. So at that point, it's high upside, high risk.
I think the question is actually pointed at somebody right above you.
I think so.
I
think so.
So Bateman.
I got to tell you. So Anthony, I'm just here to tell you right now. I ain't never gonna take Javonte Williams this year. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna let somebody else roll the dice on that. I'm glad to see that he's back in camp, that he looks like he's gonna start the season, and be able to play. I am not taking somebody who has had every single ligament torn in his knee right the first year back. I'll take him next year all day long. If I want him in Dynasty, that's fine. I'm not taking him redraft, not taking him in best ball this year. I'm glad that he's running, but is he really going to be able to do all those explosive moves that running backs need to do? And I really don't think that he is coming back full 100% strength this season. I don't think that's happening. Brees, I feel a little bit better about just because that was a cleaner tear. Same concerns though, and especially as high as he's going, not for me. Especially with the way that I draft, like to take running backs a lot later. So all three of those guys right there, honestly, no thanks. I'm happy to let somebody else have that experience.
You need to go listen back. Your girl Stefania Bell was on ETR's podcast with Adam Levitan last week, I think, and she spoke on about a lot of the guys with injuries in her opinion.
Yeah, did she have different opinions? Because usually that's what she says.
She is coming around a little bit more. She's not necessarily off of both of them. So
yeah, the thing that concerns me honestly with Javonte Williams is that injury sounds a lot like, if you remember a few years back, Willis McGahee.
Yeah.
It seems a very, very similar injury. Matt's with you though. Zero exposure on the Javonte Williams. Heavy on P. Ryan. Love it. Yeah, I'm pretty heavy on P. Ryan too. Let me give you these last couple of rounds real quick. Jordan Love, Marvin Mims, Rashid Rice, Tyler Algier, Roshan Johnson, which I know Jamie in the chat loves, Derek Carr, Kenneth Gainwell, which we just talked about, Gerald Everett, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, Taysom Hill, Cole Kmet to round out the 13th round. 14th round goes like this: Deontay Foreman, Devin Singletary, Matthew Stafford, DJ Chark, Ezekiel Elliott, still not on the team, Zamir White, RB1 there in Vegas, Raheem Mostert, Irv Smith, Kenny Pickett, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Brock Purdy, Tajay Spears, who I think is going to be a stud in Dynasty. Don't know if I want to mess with him this year. That's clearing out the 14th round. The 15th round with Jaden Reed, Jerome Ford, Jalen Hyatt. A little low for Jalen Hyatt for me, but I do love that our guy only got a hold of him. Jeff Wilson, Alec Pierce, Rashid Shaheed, Bryce Young, Hunter Renfrow, Kyler Murray, who I'm not sure if he's even going to see a NFL field this year. Isaiah Hodges, Dawson Knox, Devontae Parker, Kareem Hunt. I'm sorry. Devontae Parker finished out the 15th round. 16th round goes like this: Kareem Hunt, Tyler Conklin, Curtis Samuel, John Mechie, which I absolutely love this year. Go get him in every draft. You can get him. He's a steal right now. Michael Mayer, Juwan Johnson, Jake Ferguson, Khalil Shakir, Gus Edwards, CEH, Hayden Hurst, Chuba Hubbard to end the 16th. We are now starting the 17th round. Stacy,
Yes.
you are coming up on the clock here. What are you thinking? Try to make it quick so that we can get a Tony's thinking in these late rounds, because these late rounds are where everything is happening.
Don't worry, I'll make it quick. Gonna grab a KC receiver just to throw somebody in there. Go with my Cincinnati KC little correlation I have there for week 17. Just grab Richie James. Honestly, like that team, it could be any of those guys any week, right? So it's round 16. Grabbing Richie James.
So I see, I like Justin Ross a little bit more than Richie James right now. It seems like he might make the team. What made you pick Richie over Justin?
Well, honestly, that was the one I got to first when I realized that I was on the clock and I didn't have anybody in my queue. But I like both. I've taken both those guys in a lot of leagues. I'm a big fan of doing that stack when I can make it work and make it right. And at this late in the game, really, I mean, it's probably going to be somebody different every week, right? There could be weeks where it's Richie James, there could be weeks where it's Justin Ross. I think they're both great players. Glad to see Justin Ross. I think he had, an injury issue last year. So I'm glad to see that he's, back on the field playing. But really, I think it could just be honestly a toss up between. I think it's going to be hard to pick, especially in redraft. Those Kansas City receivers every single week. That's going to be a tough call unless your name is Travis Kelce.
Yeah, that was a conversation that I had today. Is like, what are you doing in the KC offense? And it's like there's Travis Kelce, and then just flip a coin.
Right.
Well,
right.
Sky Moore seems to be the number one.
Yeah, I still don't trust him. He didn't do anything until the Super Bowl. Tony.
Yeah, but I mean what they're showing in camp right now, the way they're splitting the reps.
Yeah, I still don't trust him.
I love Sky too, Stephanie. Don't worry.
Dwayne right there. What's the thought process?
Certain things I look at, though. I look at who's getting first team reps. I don't necessarily just listen or look at just the highlight tapes, from a million miles away, of a guy that can catch, running in shorts and all that. But there are some things that are, sifting through, knowing what signal and what is noise is important.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned
everybody else adjust.
That, Stephanie, that was a great segue. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but on our Dynasty show, last night and the next 3 weeks, we are doing hype or not hype for all these rookies in training camp. So if you want to know who's going to be, who the hype is real on, who it's not, then make sure to tune in Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock for our Dynasty 365.
I mean, that was definitely on purpose. That
was planned. We totally planned that. Professionals.
Right here. And I took the number one wide receiver for New York also, according to camp. By a long shot, apparently.
Sky and Bateman shares are inverted. Yes, agreed. 100%, Jim. 100%.
True. 100%. Yeah.
All right, so we're wrapping this draft up real quick. Tony, first of all, I want to ask you about Dwayne McBride. So, Dwayne McBride, is this just a late round pick, or is this because we saw what we saw with Cook last year and seeing Madison having a time So McBride's going to be your pick there, and now you're on the clock as well. So I'll
So
continue to ask the question: how do you handle these late round best ball picks?
I like taking shots on running backs that here, let me take my pick because it will actually help explain.
Wow.
So I really like, I don't, something about Madison I'm not
Wait,
liking.
time out.
Yep.
You just took Dwayne McBride and
Yep.
Ty Chandler. I thought
Yep.
you were a Dallas fan.
No, Lions, which is even worse. So, which makes it
Great.
worse. I'm a Lions fan.
He was just at the Dallas draft, crashing.
He was
Got
going
trying to
to
take his
Crashing
photo
the
from it,
draft.
probably.
That's right.
Yep.
Good.
Unfortunately, I'm a Lions fan. But yeah, I just think, I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little biased watching McBride up at UAB. He was electric with the ball in his hands. I mean, I think it was 36, 37 touchdowns. And I think if anything
How
happened to
many fumbles?
Madison, I'm sorry?
No,
Yes.
How many fumbles?
A lot, but I also don't believe in that. If you see my next pick, I also picked up Ty Chandler. It's more of an anti-Madison take than a pro
What about
McBride or Chandler take.
Kine? And I can't pronounce his last name offhand.
The other guy that's there?
The other guy that's there that's a returner, because right now Chandler's not getting the best hype, and then McBride doesn't catch passes, which is
so that's why I went McBride first. I do think that if something happened, Madison would be the first shot at it, especially the running downs. Like you said, he's not going to catch the ball. I do think Ty Chandler is going to be the pass catching back in that situation. So Ty Chandler actually ADP wise should have went first, but I just have a little more faith in McBride. So it just kind of happened that Ty Chandler came back to me. So I just thought, why not double dip and have a chance at that backfield? Because I do think there'll be an offense that is scoring. And then, I mean, my last three picks were all running backs and good offenses. I do think Vikings have a good offense. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Pacheco, he's been talked about maybe missing the first game, maybe two. So I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the start of last year, he was on fire. I think he had like 6-7 touchdowns in the first 6 games, and then it all started going the other way. But I think if he can get a hot start, especially with me having Alvin Kamara, I thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire would be a good kind of filler for those first couple games.
Absolutely. Let me run through these last 3 rounds real quick. That way the listener can know what was picked, especially these late picks, because a lot of these picks do matter.
And I'll say who the last guy was. The last guy was Cordarrelle Patterson. I know you can't see it on the screen.
Yes. Okay. I was going to ask that at the end. So round 16 goes like this: Kareem Hunt, Tyler Conklin, Curtis Samuel, John Mechie, Michael Mayer, Juwan Johnson, Jake Ferguson, Khalil Shakir, Gus Edwards, CEH, Hayden Hurst, Chuba Hubbard, Evan Hall, Richie James, Dwayne McBride, Tank Dell, Ryan Tannehill, Justin Ross, Mac Jones, Malik Davis, Paris Campbell, Sam Howell, Cedric Tillman, and Hunter Henry round out the 17th round. 18th round looks like this: the last round of the draft. Isaiah Likely, Darius Slayton, Kenny McIntosh, who Stacy is actually in love with.
That's right.
Mike Gesicki, Josh Palmer, where are we at? Terrence Marshall, Luke Musgrave, Chase Brown, who I am absolutely in love with, Leonard Fournette, Ty Chandler, Pierre Strong, and the last pick of the draft was Cordarrelle Patterson. Guys, I want you all to look at this board as a whole, and who is your outside of your own team, and I'll let Tony lead this off. Outside of your own team, who is your favorite team as a whole? Number one, Tony.
See if I can zoom in on the screen a little bit.
I'm going to scroll up to the top too, so you guys can see from the top.
Well, while Tony's looking at that, Tony, you let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Stacy, while he's doing that,
I got my team.
Oh, you got it already? All right.
Yep.
What do you have?
So I like at that 5 spot, the AUT Ray BR. They're the ones that took Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts back up to have. I mean, he's going to get you points in the bye week. The running backs, the core of Barkley, Aaron Jones, stacking up with AJ Dillon, and then he has the Chicago stack as well. I think that's some, or he has the Roshan Johnson, who I really like for there, and then Chase Brown. So I think the running back core is pretty solid. But to also have Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, I really like Jordan Addison. I was hoping he was going to get to me at some point. I think the rookie receivers usually have a great second half. I think he's going to have, I mean, with Adam Thielen being gone, I think Jordan Addison's a great pick there. And then having Dallas Goedert and Irv Smith at tight end is a solid tight end core. I think Irv Smith's going to have a great year because anyone who goes to Cincinnati gets their 1 year and then a big contract. So he has a 1-year deal with Cincinnati, and then he's going to go get his next big contract. So I really like that team.
How do we get deals with Cincinnati? Can we get 1-year deals with Cincinnati and then get a contract somewhere?
Well, you might be able to get a 1-year deal in Canton. I mean, he's going to be there tomorrow.
That's right. I will be in Canton tomorrow, bright and early. Leaving Tampa at 6:30 in the a.m. hours.
Steph, who's your favorite team as you look at this board? And of course, why?
I don't know. It's really hard for me to like read teams this way and pick out because there's so many things I look at usually.
Yep.
So yeah, like I said, I can't even hardly see. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I think it was a good draft. Steph or Stacy, where are you at with this draft? What do you?
Oh, I'm digging Team 12. I mean, take a look at AJ Brown, my boy Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tony, I know you like that pick right there. I think Sun God is just gonna have an amazing year. I was in a draft the other day. I saw him go at the 8th overall, first round, which was just wild. Amari Cooper, another one of my faves for this year. They followed that up with Joe Mixon, Chris Godwin. Then they're back-to-back quarterbacks here. They've got Trevor Lawrence, who I think is going to have a great year. Deshaun Watson there to pair with Amari Cooper, so that's really nice. Then you've got it also with Elijah Moore. Coming in with his running backs, he's got Antonio Gibson, Rashad Penny, Tank Bigsby, Jonathan Foreman and Kareem Hunt down here. Not sure where he's going to sign yet, but if he goes to New Orleans, that's definitely going to mess up my Kendrick Miller and Jamal Williams teams. But Cole Kmet's a great tight end as well. He's followed up down here with Hunter Henry, who's I think just being slept on there in New England, such a great red zone target. And then following up there with Isaiah Likely, who, could potentially have a good year, especially if something happens with Mark Andrews. So I really like this team, really love how they started off those first 5 rounds, especially actually the first 6 rounds, really. But I think they've got a really stacked team. Big fan of that start.
Yeah.
All right, I got one.
We talked about the Deshaun Watson, Elijah Moore, stack that he has there. But going back, he went and got Amari Cooper in that 3rd round. And here's the thing with best ball, at least in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with taking the top 2 wide receivers on one offense as long as you have the quarterback, right?
Absolutely.
Who knows what's going to happen each week?
You don't need the quarterback.
Well, you don't need the quarterback, but if you have the quarterback and then you have the top 2 receiving options, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And that was a sneaky little stack, basically.
Grab.
8 round in the 8th round with Elijah Moore, Deshaun Watson, and then of course Amari Cooper. So, all right, Steph, what do you got?
I'll take the team that was before me from the 10 spot here because they started off, and I'm a Dallas fan, so they started off with CeeDee Lamb, and that's a stack I've actually not been able to get without. I've thought of reaching from a couple spots to do the CD Pollard, so that's actually pretty unique, I think, because it hasn't fallen into his ADP. So they kind of lucked into that. So that's a combination I haven't seen a lot of. Debo, I mean, I think that Debo could kill it this year. I think the 49ers, especially with Purdy starting, he is, guys. He could really have a big year coming into it. I'm big on Jerry Jeudy this year. I think that Russ could bounce back, I hope. So I love that. I was really pissed that he took JSN. That was who I was going to take instead of Lockett. JSN has been moving up I was getting him consistently in the 7th, 6th, 7th round. Now he's coming into the 5th. People are going crazy for him. I think Seattle's entire offense could take off and just be great. Because, I mean, honestly, now we got Walker healthy. He's going to be healthy. We got Sharps. I mean, we love all 3 receivers. I mean, they're going to put up points. Now, I'm honestly a little bit worried about Lockett coming down the stretch. You know, I think JSN could come on more, and I think JSN could be the number 1 there. But like I said, I would have taken him over. Mike Evans, I'm a little worried about, even though he's having a great camp, just because of the quarterback situation. I think Godwin's a little safer bet in Tampa Bay. I don't like going too heavy, but I mean, where he took him and the guys he has, I don't mind it. Like, it blends well with the team. We talked about Javonte, but I mean, when you're going for upside here, you know, and again, we want guys that are going to come. I do worry about him, especially early on, but you know, maybe he is going to be okay. And if he is, it could be towards the end of the season when you want him. And he's got Pollard, so it's not like he's his first running back. He's already got a stud. Connor is not a stud. Connor could be hurt by the end, but maybe by the time that Connor is out, Javonte's coming on, so they could kind of be interchangeable there. I'm not huge on Ingram, but I don't hate it. He got decent value. I like Freiermuth a lot, so I think that's a nice duo for those tight ends. Goff is the week 17 correlation with all his Dallas stuff. Let's see, who did he get a stacking partner though for Goff? I'm not sure.
Did he get it?
I switched over teams. Just kidding. He got Dak. I switched teams partway through. Oh, wait. No,
No,
I'm on.
No,
It's on.
he's got
I'm
Goff.
good.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like naked Goff.
I'm looking. Yeah, it's naked Goff, so I don't love that.
Okay, it's not okay.
But there's a week 17 correlation. I'm trying to see how far he fell. No, he didn't really fall that far. I'm guessing because there's a snipe somewhere that he just wanted to get him or probably thought he could get, you know, Sam Laporte. I didn't know that Stacy would take him.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened? I'll tell you what. I actually had Ingram and Freiermuth. Yeah, so I was actually going to take targeting Ingram and both of those guys to go because that goes better with my team. So I'll trade him if he wants to trade.
So it was revenge.
No trades in best ball, girl.
Well, I don't know this person, and they're not even a badge, but yeah, Osborne pick. I'm not too sold on. So I like the beginning of their draft a little bit more than the end. I'm off of McIntosh now that we got good news on Walker and Sharp. Sorry, Stacy, even though I don't mind him in Dynasty, but
it's early,
girl. I mean, come on, we got all 3. I mean, there's a lot of mouths on that offense, and I mean, I'm not saying he's not talented, but come on, he's not Charbonnet, he's not Ken Walker, he's not JSN.
No, and that's why you take him in the 18th round.
I know, but you don't want dead roster spots either. That could still hurt your team.
Well, I don't think he's going to be dead. We're going to have to argue about this because I don't think he's going to be a dead roster spot.
Well, I will tell you this. I do have a lot of pre-draft exposure, so but I'm not taking him now.
Let's go this route. I know Stacy's got to get to bed soon because she's getting old, number 1.
Yes.
Number 2, she's got an early flight to get to the expo.
Deadly combination.
It's probably more the old than it is the getting to the expo. But we're gonna. I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Listen, I need my beauty sleep. All right, this doesn't happen on accident. So
I got a question for Tony before we get out of here, though. So are there any stacks when it comes to best ball, of course, that you find yourself particularly appealing? Like, I want this stack when it comes to, you know, these style of tournaments where you're, you know, 10,000 people, 15,000 people, whatever it is, jumping in.
Yep. The one I like the best is probably because I like having stacks where someone's earlier, someone's later. So I like either Hill or Waddle with Tua. I think because you can get Tua usually later at quarterback. And I just like the upside of Hill. Obviously, I mean, he's probably top 6, 7 pick, and then Waddle you can get a second round. So if I can get one of those two, I tend to prioritize grabbing Tua as well. So that's probably my favorite stack.
Love that answer.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. One more, just basically
Mm-hmm.
the same type of thing is like
Okay.
who is somebody that is underrated when it comes to best ball that you find yourself going, I want to get that guy.
So one of the guys I really like this year, and I like A-Chain. And I back to Miami. I'm not a Miami fan, but
Christ, I thought you were a Detroit fan. That's way
I know I'm killing myself here.
99-degree heat in Miami.
I know. I went from liking Minnesota and liking Miami, I guess.
They have
But I
Dolphins in Detroit now.
apparently that's where we like to visit. All the Detroit people go to Florida to visit, so we become fans of the Miami team, I guess.
Fair.
Yes. That's what happens when you hit retirement age. You just all move down here.
Yes.
And they start learning at Tony's age.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I do like A-Chain though. I mean, there's a little bias there. I mean, I'm a season ticket holder for A&M, so I saw a lot of their games. So knowing how quick he is, I know he's a little small, but if he gets in some space, he's gone. So I think A-Chain, and I got him in this one. He's one of those guys that I tend to target in a lot of drafts.
I have a lot of A-Chain too, so I hope you're right. And yeah, he's fun to watch. He's lighting up camp too, and he's fun to watch.
Yes.
I mean, and we're looking at the two guys in front of him, talk about injuries, I don't think they're going to last all season.
Yep. Again, I'm biased though. I saw a lot of A-Chain in person, so you tend to get a little excited when you see those players get drafted in the NFL.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Kendra Miller, so I feel you.
Yep.
That explains some of my weird obsession and Jamal Bud.
Yeah, but him and CH are the two that I've been trying to get. My exposure to those two has been pretty high in best ball this year, just because I think CH is gonna have a shot to do something. I think he's a sleeper. I mean, everyone was high on him, and then everyone hates him, and I think he's gonna come back and have a pretty good year this year.
I think that's one of the biggest things that I don't like. I don't like where Stacey took Pacheco, because I think there's so many running backs in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then let me.
I'm with her on the Pacheco.
I don't even want to hear it, Stacey. I don't want to hear it.
That's okay. So let me ask you. So because I had Cook and Connor both on my list. Mm-hmm. So who would you have taken? Like, because they were already gone by the time it got to me with Pacheco. So who else would you have taken instead of Pacheco?
Personally, I probably would have moved on. I wouldn't have taken Odell for sure. I'd have to, because I'm not drafting in this. It would be one of those ones that I'd have to be watching my build. But I would, again, look at like a Nico Collins, a Jameis Williams, depending on how
you're not looking at ADP. You don't take Nico.
I don't.
Nico doesn't go way past that.
I look at when I'm building a best ball team, I don't even look at ADP. I don't even look at ADP because
you have to be aware of ADP in these.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aware of it, but
I remember.
I was gonna say I don't know if I did.
Don't be a prisoner to ADP.
Yeah, I'm not a prisoner to ADP when it comes to best ball.
There's not being a prisoner, and there's drafting somebody that goes 5 or 6 rounds later.
I reached a couple times.
Nico went the round after that. Nico went the 9th round. So you go that far.
Not even a half a round later. So
yeah,
no, I'm not a prisoner to ADP. And if I take him 5 picks before where he's supposed to be going, I'm fine with that.
We got to start looking at some data, guys.
Did Nico ball out in that preseason game? What happened? What happened there? Nico ball out in that preseason game we don't know about. Let me pull those stats.
I can't even watch the freaking games because apparently my NFL network is showing the Hall of Fame game instead of this week's game.
Oh, interesting.
Well, that's not very helpful.
I'll give you a heads up. The Patriots are losing.
Big surprise.
Houston's up 13.
Listen, that's not very helpful.
Wait, but is Hunter Henry? I saw Taekwon got a catch, so that was good. So maybe all my Taekwon shares are not totally dead, and I have shitloads of Hunter Henry. So as long as he hits, I'm good.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Or where he goes.
All right, Stacey. I know you want to get out of here shortly, so take us to the house.
All right, guys. So, everybody, I just want to first off say thank you to everybody who's in the chat tonight, hanging out with us, drafting with us. It's always a good time on Thursday nights when we get together with friends and do these drafts. Probably my favorite part of the week. If you're not already following Tony, make sure to go out there and grab him at Jenna Tony on the Twitter machine, on X, whatever the heck Elon is calling it this week. Tony, again, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. You
Thank
are
you for
welcome
having
back
me.
anytime. This has been an absolute blast having you here. Guys, you can find Steph over at Steph Miller 57. You can find me over at Stacy_Perez 83. Go ahead and you can find Jay over at Fantasy J 77. Is make sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already, and run on over, hit that like, follow us everywhere on Fantasy and Frames social media. Guys, we'll be back next week. We got a very, very special guest coming in next week. Steph, who is joining us next week? Real quick.
Mr. Justin Herzig, the BBM 1 winner, will be on stream. And I want to know more about this Tank Dell
Tank Dell hype
going on, because I
Tank
love
Dell
this
touchdown.
Tank Dell.
Thank you.
So I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
have
Matt.
to hit my. I'm gonna have to hit Matt up in Discord in a second.
All right. Hopefully, Demario Douglas got some reception points, because I got a little thing going on underdog here to get me a little more cash in my pocket. Fingers crossed, guys. But guys, remember, check us out next week. Gonna have a lot of good times doing some more drafts there next week, the rest of the week, or the rest of the season or preseason coming up, going on into September. Again, it's been a great night with everybody, and we'll see you all next week.